Today I am going to discuss about the medical surgical nursing 2 for the GNM second years. So in that unit 9, nursing management of patient with musculoskeletal disorders. So in this musculoskeletal disorders, there is a abnormal conditions can be included in the osteomyelitis. So osteomyelitis also one of the abnormal condition in the musculoskeletal disorders. So today topic is osteomyelitis. So now we will discuss about the definition of osteomyelitis. So definition it includes, it is an acute infection of the bone. So there is a acute infection of the bone and it can be occur suddenly. So acute infection means it can be occur suddenly. There is a acute infection of the bone. It may occur an acute or chronic. So it may occur an acute or chronic. Acute means it can be caused suddenly, or chronic means for a long time it can be present. So it can be acute or chronic. Acute means suddenly it can cause, and chronic means from the long time period it can be present. So it can be made acute or chronic, and it is a become acute infection of the bone, and which process and the infection of bone is either direct or indirect invasion of microorganisms. So the osteomyelitis can be caused by the directly or indirectly invasion of microorganisms into the bones. So the directly or indirectly caused by the microorganisms. So it is about the definition of osteomyelitis. Osteomyelitis means it is an acute infection of the bone and it may occur an acute or chronic, and the infection of bone is either direct or indirect invasion of microorganisms. So there is a, it can be caused by the direct or indirect invasion of organisms into the bone. So another definition for the osteomyelitis, it is there is a pyogenic. So there is a pyogenic infection of the bone. So there is a pyogenic infection of the bone and surrounding tissues. So there is a pyogenic infection means there is a pus formation in the bones. So because of the infection there is a pus formation occur in the bones. Pyogenic means there is a pus formation can be occur in the bones, and there is a surrounding tissues, and which are the surrounding tissues, and the tissues can be surrounded to the bones, and in the surrounding tissues also there is a formation of pus. So it is called as osteomyelitis. So another definition for the osteomyelitis, it is a pyogenic infection and it can be surrounds the, it can be occur surrounding tissues of the bone. So there is a pyogenic infection means there is a pus formation of the occur in the bones and it can be spread to the soft tissues of the bones. And next one is causes of the osteomyelitis. So there is a causes includes the, it can be caused by the variety of microbial agents. So there is a microbial agents, variety of microbial agents can be involved in the osteomyelitis, and there is a Staphylococcus aureus and the Escherichia coli and the Pseudomonas Klebsiella and Salmonella. So these are all the microbial agents can be cause the osteomyelitis. So the causative organisms are the variety of microbial agents can be included in the cause of osteomyelitis. So it includes the Staphylococcus aureus and Escherichia coli, Pseudomonas and Klebsiella and Salmonella. These are all the microbial agents can be cause the osteomyelitis. And next one is the risk factors. So the risk factors includes the artificial joint implants. So artificial joint implants. So if the patient having any fracture, so during the surgery of the fractures and there is a metals can be used in the surgery. So like plastic metals or the rods like that used in the during the surgery of the fracture. So there is a artificial joint implant. So using of these metals there is a cause of infection. So there is a artificial joint implant. So because of the using of this metals and it can cause the osteomyelitis. So artificial joint implants. And next one is recent joint surgery. So there is a joint surgery. Recently there is a joint surgery. So during the joint surgery the microorganisms can be enter into the joint. So it can also cause the osteomyelitis. And next one is recent joint arthroscopy. So during the arthroscopy there is an invasion of microorganisms and it also cause the osteomyelitis. So recent joint arthroscopy. So during the arthroscopy the making the incision during the arthroscopy. So by the incision the microorganisms can be enter into the joints. So it can be also cause the osteomyelitis. And the next one is patients have impaired immune system. So the immune system become impaired. So the immune system does not work properly. So does not fight against with the infection. So the patient have the impaired immune system. For example, if the patient having AIDS, so the AIDS patient having the decreased immunity. So because of the decreased immunity, so the immune system cannot fight against with the infection. So the patient will have the impaired immune system. So because of the impaired immune system there is a cause of osteomyelitis. And the next one is chronic illness. So chronic illness, it is a diabetic patient, there is a more chance to get the osteomyelitis. And next one is prolonged use of corticosteroid therapy. So there is a corticosteroids can be used for a prolonged period and it can also cause the osteomyelitis. So prolonged use of medicines, there is a suppress the immune system. So if you are using the medications from prolonged period, so it can cause the suppressed immune system. So because of this it can cause the osteomyelitis. And prolonged use of corticosteroid therapy, and because prolonged use of medications it can suppress the immune system. So because of the immune system suppression there is a cause of osteomyelitis. And there is a post-operative surgical wound infection. So post-operatively, so after the operation the patient have the surgical wound. So wound infection. So by this wound the invasion of microorganisms into the joints and it also cause the osteomyelitis. So it is about the risk factors. So the causes includes the microbial agents includes the Staphylococcus aureus and the Klebsiella, Escherichia coli, and there is a Salmonella. So the risk factors includes the artificial joint implants and the recent joint injury and recent joint arthroscopy. Patient have the impaired immune system and the chronic illness like diabetes and prolonged use of corticosteroid therapy and post-operative surgical wound infection. So these are all the risk factors for the osteomyelitis. And next one is pathophysiology for the osteomyelitis. So there is a pathophysiology includes the bacteria contaminate the bone and multiply. So the bacteria can be enter into the body and it can be contaminate the bone. So and it can be multiply. So the bacteria can be increase. the number. So the bacteria can be multiplied, the bacteria can be increased in the number, and it can be contaminate the bone. So by the wounds, by the open wounds, by the surgical wounds, the microorganisms can be enter into the body, and it can be travel through the bloodstream to the bone, and it can be contaminate the bone. So the bacteria can be contaminate the bone and multiply. So there is an increase in the number of the bacteria and initiate the inflammatory and immune response. So because of the bacteria entrance in the bone, and it can be cause the inflammatory and immune response become initiate. So the immune and the immune response. So the immune system and immune response can be decreased, and there is an inflammatory response, and the immune response can be initiated by the bacteria contamination, and there is a pus formation and occur which followed by edema. So because of there is a pus formation. So because of the entrance into the body, because of the bacteria, there is a pus formation can be occur in the bones. So because of the bacteria, there is a inflammatory response can be initiated. So because of this inflammatory response, it can cause the edema. So there is a pus formation can occur which followed by the edema. Edema means it is a inflammation. So because of the bacteria contamination of the bone, there is a pus formation can be occur, and the inflammation can be occur. So after the edema, so there is a inflammation, and it leads to the infection travel from the Haversian canal in medullary cavity of the bone marrow. So the infection after the inflammation, so the infection can be travel from the Haversian canal. So Haversian canal, it can be present in the medullary cavity of the bone. So Haversian canal, it is a one tube like structure. From this canal, the blood vessels and the nerves which can be supplied to the bones, and it can be passed through the Haversian canal in medullary cavity. So medullary cavity, it is nothing but medial part of the bone. So the medullary cavity, it consists of Haversian canal. So Haversian canal means it is a tube like structure. From this canal, the blood vessels and the nerves which the blood vessels and nerves can be supplies to the bone by this canal. So by this canal, the blood vessels and the nerves can be passed, and there is a passage of blood vessels and nerves by this Haversian canal into the bones. So there is a blood supply can be done by the blood vessels and nerves by the Haversian canal in the medullary cavity of bone marrow and to other segments of bone. So the infection can be travel from the Haversian canal of the medullary cavity of bone marrow to the other segments of bone. So the medullary cavity, Haversian canal, it can be present in the medullary cavity. Medullary cavity is nothing but medial part of the bone. So Haversian canal, it can be present in the medullary cavity. So Haversian canal, it is tube like structure. By this, the blood vessels and the nerves can be passed. So and the infection can be spread to the other segments of the bone, and next it leads to the periosteum of bone and disrupts blood vessels that enter the bone. So because of this infection, there is a periosteum means there is a outer layer of the bone can be disturbed, and there is a disrupts the blood vessels that enter the bone. So which are the blood vessels can be enter into the bone? The blood vessels can be disturbed by the infection. So periosteum means there is a outer layer of the bones and it can be infected, and the bones and the blood vessels can be supplied to the bones, and the blood vessels can be disturbed by the infection. So it can be leads to the ischemia of the bone occurs which lead to bone tissue necrosis. So because of this, infection can be spreading to the blood vessels and the periosteum. So it leads to the ischemia of bone. Ischemia of bone means the decreased blood supply to the bone. Ischemia means there is a decreased blood supply to the bone, and it can lead to the bone tissue necrosis. So there is a decreased supply to the bone, decreased blood supply to the bone, it leads to the death of the cells in the bone. So there is a bone tissue necrosis. Necrosis means death of the cells. So decreased blood supply to the bone, it can cause the bone tissue necrosis. So it can be leads to the bone abscess, forms abscess cavity called sequestrum. So sequestrum, so bone abscess means there is a infection can be formed in the bone and it can be abscess cavity called as sequestrum. So the bone become the bone become infected and there is a formation of pus and it can be called as sequestrum. So there is a which does not heal and collapse. So the sequestrum, it cannot be healed. So it cannot be healed and it cannot be collapsed. So it does not heal and it become collapse. So because of the decreased blood supply and there is a decreased blood supply and death of the cells and the wound cannot be healed. The wound does not heal and there is a collapse of the bone. So there is a bone abscess and forms a abscess cavity called sequestrum. So there is a bone abscess means there is a formation of infection or pus and because it forms the abscess cavity, it is called as sequestrum and the sequestrum cannot be healed and it become collapsed and new bone surrounds the sequestrum. So it can be the sequestrum remains in the bone for a long period, lifelong, and because of this sequestrum the new bone can be surrounds the sequestrum and remains throughout the life of the patient and it can lead to the osteomyelitis. So because of the pus formation or the infection, because of this and there is a formation of abscess cavity called sequestrum. So the sequestrum cannot be healed and it can collapse. So the new bone surrounds the sequestrum. So the new bone, it can be surrounded the sequestrum and the sequestrum can be remains throughout the life of the patient. So the sequestrum does not heal, it can be remains throughout the life of the patient. So it leads to the osteomyelitis. So it is about the pathophysiology. And next one is clinical manifestations, includes the infection of long bones and pain, and there is a infection of the long bones. Because of the infection the patient may have the severe pain at the affected area. And next one is fever and the chills and sweating. So there is a because of the infection the patient may have the high fever and the chills and sweating. And next one is swelling and skin appear red. So the skin become red and there is a swelling can be swelling. So there is a inflammation can be occur at the infected area and there is a limitation of movement of joint affected bone. So there is a affected joint, there is a mobilization. So the patient cannot able to move the joints, affected joint. So there is a limitation of movement of the joint affected bone. So there is a discharge of bony pus. So from the bones there is a discharge of pus. So pus can be discharged from the bones and there is a deformity. So immobilization. So because of the infection or the pain the patient is not able to move the joint. So because of this the deformity, disability can be occur and there is a decreased movement. So the movement of the joints can be decreased. So it is about the clinical manifestations. There is an infection of the long bones and pain and the fever, chills and sweating, swelling and skin appear become red and limitation of the movement of joint affected bone. So discharge of the bony pus and